Okay, so now for the continuation of our discussion regarding lesson 6. Now, for the second culture, the second country that we will be visiting regarding their culture and the relationship of the existence of sex and sexuality when it comes to their particular culture or the backbone of their culture is India. Okay, so titingnan natin ngayon kung ano nga ba yung meron pagdating dito sa mga Indians, kung ano nga ba yung kanilang point of view regarding the existence of sexuality or sex during their particular time. So, stretching in the Himalayas in the north of the Deccan in the south, India is among the world's oldest and culturally richest civilizations. It comes as no surprise then that at one point it led the world in the development of ideas about sexuality. So you will actually be encountering some terms na medyo parang um, common or that somewhat ring a bell kapag pag-uusapan natin tong Indian civilization. So yung ancient India was actually a hotbed of discourse pagdating po sa topics such as love, sex, and marriage. Na even up to now, in the contemporary times, mapapansin natin kung kayo man inunood ng iba't ibang mga Bollywood films, that sobrang sentro pa rin ng mga discussions yung um, acceptance and non-acceptance pagdating sa konsepto ng sex and at the same time mga gender stereotypes na nangyayari pagdating sa India. So because of the existence ng dalawang opposing views, it actually resulted in many books, poems, paintings, and other art forms from the time depicting or discussing sexuality openly. Itong iba't ibang mga artifacts na to today are priceless as they left us pieces of these different images regarding the love and sex life na nag-exist sa ancient India. So, in the case of ancient India, they're actually the pioneers of sexual literature. Kung kanina, pagdating dun sa existence of pornographic materials when it comes to the Egyptians, ang mga Indians, ang kanilang literature on sexuality is actually the earliest and the oldest in the world. So, dinipict dito kung ano nga ba yung nangyayari whenever a man and a woman would actually have sexual intercourse. Paano nga ba nila ma-achieve yung tinatawag natin dito na tantric idea regarding ecstasy or yung existence dito ng satisfaction whenever they are having sex. So, they have the pioneering attitude when it comes to different approaches pagdating sa mga discussions na to. Kasi sobrang open nga nila pagdating sa usapin regarding the existence of sexual literature. And at the same time, probably you heard of this, the Kama Sutra. It is actually an ancient Indian manuscript on subjects such as not only on sex but even in eroticism, pleasure during sex, and even the discussions regarding sexual possessions. Actually, the ancient Indians also conveyed basics about anatomy and sex through paintings and rich illustrations. Kasi hindi po ganun ka-widespread yung literature, to be honest, on ancient India kasi sobrang lawak nga ng kanilang nasasakupan. Hindi lahat ng mga individuals dito can actually read and write. Some of them can just understand the different images, songs, or even yung mga kwento na ipinapasa pagdating sa kanila. Kaya ang dami nila ditong mga paintings, ang dami nila ditong iba't ibang forms of arts kasi ito yung mas nadadigest kaagad ng mga tao. So, yung case po ng existence ng Kama Sutra, it is actually created for the pleasure of women during sex. It is not only about, ngayon po kasi parang kapag narinig natin yung term na Kama Sutra, yung unang pupasok sa isip natin ay iba't ibang sex possessions lang. But actually, no. Kama Sutra is how you can actually reach pleasure utilizing your body as a vessel for that particular pleasure. Na hindi lamang isang individual ang nag-enjoy whenever you are having sex, but it is actually a union of two bodies. Which is basically the thing when it comes to copulation or intercourse. Kaya nga tayo meron dito iba't ibang mga stages when it comes to the existence ng tinatawag natin na sexual response cycle. Kung naalala nyo pa yung discussion natin regarding the existence ng excitement, plateau, arousal, orgasm, and the likes. So, ganun din po yung case natin whenever they are talking about the existence po ng Kama Sutra in ancient Indian literature and even up to now. So, yung case po ng Kama Sutra, relate po dito yung women empowerment and satisfaction or pleasure during sexual intercourse. So this actually reflected dun sa author dito na si Vatsyayana, okay, which is actually a woman, okay. She actually created this particular book for women empowerment, obviously. So, pinapakita po dito kung ano nga ba yung significance na magkaroon ng pleasure yung mismong kababaihan whenever they're having sexual intercourse. Because it is not only focused on man. Okay? Tandaan po natin, it is not only a man's world, but even all members or anyone should be satisfied during this particular case. Kasi nga po sobrang holy ng mismong act na to. So yung case po ng Kama Sutra even extends to the existence po ng tinatawag natin na first documented understanding of orgy, or para sa mga hindi po nakakaalam kung yung fellatio is blowjob. Ang case naman po ng orgy ay pakikipagtalik sa maraming individuals in a specific location. So it is more than threesome, foursome, or kung gaano mang karami yan. So in ancient Indian shastras or mga manuscripts and even some of the paintings, pinapakita dito yung isang sexual game na tinatawag dito na chakra puja. So yung chakra puja, for some provinces in India, they are also known as the Gatkanuchi. It is actually a play na kung saan, or a game, na kung saan marami ditong couples who are actually present on a specific location na sila ay nagpapalitan dito ng partners whenever they are having sex. Okay? So, it should actually be a consensual type of orgy, and at the same time marami dito kasama and kinakailangan minsan ginagawa ito sa loob ng premises ng isang bakuran o kaya naman sa loob ng bahay, and they're actually gathering here couples or partners and they are having sex with one another. So that particular instance is actually risky kung tutuusin, pero it actually shows na in some Asian cultures, in Indian culture specifically, open sila pagdating sa bagay na to. Then, dahil sa sobrang tagal nga ng existence ng civilization ng ancient India, nung nagkaroon dito ng mga conservative na leaders, nagkaroon din dito nung existence ng case regarding the presence ng polygamy and polyandry, and even yung presence po ng monogamy. So, tandaan po natin na yung case po ng polygamy is that one individual can have a lot of couples or a lot of partners. That's polygamy. Ang polyandry naman, isang lalaki pero marami ang kanyang asawang babae. Okay? Then, syempre, nandiyan naman yung existence din ng monogamy. So, in the case of marriages, in ancient India, hindi rin po parating sunshine and rainbows. Especially, ang ancient India kasi, ito ay very patriarchal pa rin. So, in some instances, nangyayari sa ibang mga provinces ng India, nangyayari dito yung custom na tinatawag na sati, or ito yung widow burning, na kapag namatay yung asawa ng lalaki, kung sino man yung kanyang asawa na nabubuhay, okay, or kung marami man siyang asawa, susunugin, mamamatay din yung kanyang asawa, kasi pagdating sa mismong afterlife, kinakailangan alagaan pa rin siya ng kanyang asawa. Okay? So, in some provinces in ancient India, syempre, their devotion pagdating sa bagay, ito yung kanilang mismong culture, can actually lead to the death of women. So, yung duty ng mismong namatayan, kailangan niyang sunugin ng kanyang sarili or kinakailangan siyang sunugin kay alongside sa corpse ng kanyang husband. Minsan yung pagsusunog po na ito ay hindi ginagamitan ng kahit anumang forms of anesthesia or anything. Okay? Then at the same time, one of the liberal attitudes pagdating po sa sexuality in ancient India na medyo contrary sa nangyayari ngayon, their idea of homosexuality is actually quite common. Then ganun din po pagdating sa Egypt, hindi lang pala natin na-mention kanina. Probably I lost that slide. But homosexuality is actually quite a common thing, common occurrence, and that is actually fine sa napakarami mga ancient civilizations. It is not only tolerated, but even accepted by their own society. Pero, In some instances, no nagkaroon na nga dito ng changes pagdating sa rulers of ancient India na kahit na ito ay practice openly, okay, syempre meron pa rin dito mga individuals that can actually scrutinize this particular couples kapag sila ay nagsasama kasi nga hindi ito normal when it comes to their society. Hindi ito normal, quote-unquote. Pero it is being practiced openly and accepted within the society. So, ilan po na sa mga pinaka-common dito is obviously between two females. May marami po tayong text pagdating sa bagay na even between males. And they're actually believing pagdating po dito sa existence ng homosexuality. Okay? So, at this point, for the second part, pag-uusapan din natin dito yung existence ng after natin mag-move sa India, yung kapitbahay nito, which is the ancient Mesopotamia, which is the cradle of the early civilization. So in the case of ancient Mesopotamia, ang makikita naman po natin dito na yung idea regarding the sexuality and marriage in ancient Mesopotamia is actually provide that masasabi talaga natin na very patriarchal pa rin na society nila. Uso dito yung arranged marriage and at the same time, ina-ensure kasi na ang marriage on ancient Mesopotamia ay nakafocus sa business transaction between different families. Yung romantic love can actually play a huge part pagdating sa Mesopotamian marriage. Pero yung ilan din sa mga customs ng ancient Mesopotamia, nagkakaroon sila dito ng case ng pagbebenta ng mga brides. That if your family is not that noble, may kung ikaw ay nanggaling sa isang mahirap na pamilya, wala kang sa isa kung sino mapapangasawa mo. And minsan, para sa mga kababaihan, kung marami mga kababaihan pagdating sa kanilang pamilya, sila ay ibinibenta para makahanap sila ng kung sino nga ba yung kanilang mapapangasawa. So, lahat na nangyayari po dito pagdating sa case ng ancient Mesopotamia starts the idea ng hindi pagkakapantay-pantay pagdating sa bagay na to. Especially kung titingnan po natin dito yung marriage ng ancient Mesopotamia. So halimbawa na lang dito na meron tayo ditong marriage and engagement contract. Kinakailangan na magkaroon ng dowry or pagbabayad sa pamilya ng bride and groom to each other. Then, nagkakaroon dito ng ceremony and feast. Kaya po kapag kinakasal, probably this custom ay nakuha na sa mga Mesopotamian na kinakailangan meron dito magarbong handaan. Then the bride will actually move in the father-in-law's home. And at the same time, sexual intercourse between the couple should actually happen right after ng mismong marriage. So if ever man na nireject to be a virgin yung isang babae, okay, kinakailangan na siya ay magbuntis. Pero if ever man na hindi po ito mangyari, maaring ibalik yung female doon sa kanyang mismong pamilya. And kinakailangan bayaran ng family of the female, yung syempre kahihiyan na to, and at the same time, yung case ng mga ibinayad sa kala ng mismong groom. So that's actually quite, sabihin natin na quite BS pagdating sa part na to. Okay? Kasi yung case ka natin, masyado sila nakafocus ngayon dun sa idea of the existence ng patriarchal na society. Then, another case when it comes to the marriage in ancient Mesopotamia, nandito po yung existence na tinatawag natin na sacred prostitution. So according to Herodotus, which is the father of history, he reported that every woman, at least once in their lifetime, had to sit outside the temple of Ishtar. Okay, matatagpan natin to sa modern day Iraq ngayon. Okay? So sa Ishtar, or in some of the provinces in Mesopotamia, tinatawag ito na Inanna, agreed to have sex with whatever stranger chose her. Okay, ito yung basically yung custom na nagpapakita na since si Ishtar or si Inanna is the goddess of fertility, kinakailangan nila na gawin tong bagay na to, tong form ng sacred prostitution, na kapag sila inabutan ng mismong barya, kung sino may mag-aabot sa kanilang barya, kailangan nila makipagtarik dito sa individual na to. Okay? So, this particular custom is actually being done para mapagpatuloy yung prosperity dun sa kala mismo community. Kasi hindi lamang fertility yung binibigay ni Ishtar, but even fertility of the lands. So if ever man na hindi ka mabigyan ng barya, for 1 year, kailangan mo mag-serve sa mismong temple na to. Okay? So kapag nabigyan ka ng barya, makikipagtali ka dito sa individual na to, hindi ka naman nabigyan ng barya, kailangan mo mag-serve kay Ishtar. Most of the times, virgins po yung kailang ina-accept pagdating sa bagay na to. But there are some exception to the rules if ever man na kukunti lang yung virgins during that particular time. Okay? Then, homosexuality is also accepted and at the same time present pagdating sa ancient Mesopotamia. Okay? Especially, nakikita po dito sa kanilang mga clay tablets in the cuneiform. Okay? Pinapakita dito yung existence ng pagkapagtalik between two males and even two females. Okay? And they are actually assuming here male or female possession. Or sa pagkakataon na ito, meron tayong tinatawag na tops and bottoms. So, if there are some men that would like to do that particular role, they're actually utilizing or doing those particular roles. So, some various unusual possessions could be adopted, katulad na lang na standing on a chair, across the bed, or the partner, taking from behind, or even sodomizing, or ito yung paglalagay ng kahit na anumang bagay on the butt or in the anus. Okay, yun po yung case natin ng sodomy or anal intercourse is actually a form or common form po ng contraception during those times. Kasi nga kapag sa mismong female reproductive organ ka nakipagtalik, okay, not the butt stuff, quote-unquote, it can actually lead to the existence po ng pregnancy. Okay, pero kung gagawin naman ito on the behind, walang pregnancy na mangyayari. So that's actually a form of contraception during the time of ancient Mesopotamia. Okay? Now, at this point, for the last part, pagdating po dito sa mismong second part ng discussion natin, pag-usapan naman natin kung ano nga ba yung present pagdating sa ancient Greece. So this is for the second part ng mismong video discussion natin ha. Meron pa tayong third and fourth part kasi mahaba ang discussion na to. So, for the case of the Greece, the sexuality in ancient Greece ay nakafocus po ngayon sa konsepto ng love, sex, and marriage. Okay? It is portrayed in the Greek literature. Kaya sa mga mahilig dito sa Greek literature, katulad na lamang ng isa sa mga na-mention ni Plato, okay? Though I will be providing a link sa video na to sa description box, check nyo po to kasi isa ito dun sa mga songs na pinapakita kung ano nga ba yung idea ng mga ancient Greeks pagdating sa concept ng love and sexuality. Okay? In their particular case, for many upperclassmen, marriages did not take place for love and other relationships, and it should be with men or other women took on this particular role, and marriage was a social and financial decision. So, hindi ka po ito madalas na through the contract pagdating sa mismong love. So, apologies for that. So, meron pong dalawang case ng cultures pagdating sa marriage when it comes to ancient Greece. Nandito yung existence ng ancient Athens tsaka ng ancient Sparta. Medyo magkaiba yung culture pagdating sa kanila. So, pag-usapan natin yung differences pagdating sa kanila. So, yung case po ng ancient Athens, or in the Athenian ideas of Greece, importante dito yung existence ng mga sacrifices as a part ng proalia, or ito po yung music na madalas din na ginagamit kapag ikinakasal ang mga ancient Athenians. Okay? So yung mga sacrifices na to ay ginagawa nila para kay Hera, or yung kanilang goddess of marriage, na siya yung divine example of a bride. And at the same time, si Artemis naman, binibigay din nila itong iba't ibang mga jewels nila, iba't ibang mga bagay pagdating sa kanilang mismong possession, because she is now the goddess of virginity. So para magkaroon dito ng prosperous marriage yung mag-asawa, kinakailangan na magbigay sila dito ng magarbong celebration, okay? Then at the same time, kinakailangan din nila dito na magbigay ng iba't ibang mga gifts pagdating dito sa mga gods and goddesses. Goddesses na to specifically. Samantalang yung case sa ancient Sparta, it is now actually quite different. kung sa Athens, or in ancient Athens, Greece, nandito yung existence ng sacrifices during marriage, magarbo yung kanilang mga celebrations. On ancient Sparta, yung marriage nito is not actually a big affair. Okay? And traditions were exist to be secretive. Okay? And madalas yung nangyayari right after the marriage, simpleng celebration lang ito. Then, dahil sa yung mga Spartans, lalo yung mga kalalakihan, sila ay in a military state. Okay? Yung mga kababaihan, most of the times, doon lang sila pumupunta sa kanilang mga asawa after nilang mag-isang dibdib, after na mismo marriage nila. Usually, yung mga females, they cut their hair short para makapasok sila. And at the same time, since yun nga yung mga kalalakihan na kasama nila, nasanay yung mga kalalakihan sa ancient Sparta na maiksi yung buhok ng kalang mga kasama, even yung kalang mga wives, kailangan din na pagupit ng kalang mismong buhok. Kaya nga po, according to some text and according to some images din na makikita ninyo online, on ancient Sparta, common din dito yung homosexual sex. Okay, so common din po dito yung sodomy, common din dito yung anal sex. Then, in this particular case, since nasa military nga yung mga kalalakihan, yung mga kababaihan ngayon ang nagtitake ng role na sila yung naging sentro ng kanilang mismong family. Okay? Kasi nga, matatapos yung war o kaya matatapos yung mismong service ng kanilang asawa, pagbalik nila sa kanilang mismong bahay, doon pala sila magte-take in charge doon sa kanilang mismong community, doon sa kanilang mismong bahay. Pero habang wala yung mga kalalakihan, ang power ay nasa mga kababaihan. So they are having sex after they had their marriage doon sa mga quarters nitong mga soldiers from ancient Sparta. Then after that, uuwi yung kanilang mga asawa, then sila na yung bahala pagdating sa kanilang mismong family hanggang sa makabalik ang kanilang asawa after the training or after the war. So, kung papansin natin, mas matatanda na yung mga individuals na to kasi their main focus ka is for combat, for them to be soldiers and not to do things for themselves. Mas bata yung mga ikinakasal sa ancient Athens, habang sa ancient Sparta naman mas matatanda yung mga kalalakihan at mga kababaihan. Then in the case of context of love, sinulat dito ni Plato yung context regarding how men and women were created for each other as the children of the moon. Meron tayong tinatawag na children of the earth at children of the sun. Yung children of the sun, sasabi nila dito na common yung homosexuality pagdating sa dalawang lalaki since sila yung soulmates sa isa't isa. Common din pagdating sa dalawang babae kasi they are soulmates to one another since they are the children of the earth. Pero in children of the moon, isang lalaki at isang babae, kaya ito rin yung common na nagiging example natin ng mga heteronormative na mga relationships. So it is actually mentioned on Plato's Symposium, which I will be including yung link dito sa discussion natin regarding a song from a musical known as Hedwig, The Angry Inch. Tong musical na to, pinakita dito yung kung ano nga ba yung existence ng symposium in just one song. Okay, so pakinggan nyo yun. This is actually a very good song which explains kung ano nga ba yung in-explain ni Plato during symposium. Then, another case po dito, in ancient Greece, attitudes and views on sexuality differed greatly depending on gender. So, sa ancient Greece po, nagsimula na dito yung scrutiny pagdating sa disparity between male and female. Kung ikaw ay lalaki, mas marami kang privileges. Kung ikaw ay babae, mas konti yung privileges mo. Madalas na yung sexuality po dito, okay lang sa kanila na yung mga kalalakihan ay mga liwa, pero yung mga kababaihan, they will be considered as trash kapag ginawa nila itong mga bagay na to. So, nakikita natin yung double standards. It actually started when it comes to ancient Greece. Then, yung case naman, when it comes to the sexuality of man, is actually quite liberal kung tutuusin. Okay lang yun na yung mga lalaki makipagtalik sa iba pang mga babae or makipagtalik sa ibang mga lalaki because according to them, this is a part of their cardinal needs. Kaya kinakailangan lang maging liberal. Kaya common yung in yung intercourse between two males when it comes to ancient Greece, not only on Athens but even on Sparta. Okay? Kasi pinapakita din dito yung power dynamics. Kung pareho kayong lalaki, kailangan someone should be dominant, someone should be submissive. Ganun pa rin. Meron pa rin tayong level of dominance pagdating sa bagay na to. One will still act as the female, one will still act as the male based on the stereotypes na given ng mismong society natin. Which is quite problematic pa rin kung tutuusin sa pagkakataon na to. So ganun umiikot yung context when it comes to the ideas ng love in the existence po ng ancient Greece. And syempre, just like in the case of prostitution, it is still considered as a noble act pagdating po sa ancient Greece. They're actually considering the utilization po ng prostitution as a form of revering Hera and even Aphrodite pagdating po sa mga activities na pwede nila magawa pagdating sa prosperity on ancient Greece. So, these are the things na related po pagdating sa context ng mga Indian, Mesopotamian, and even Greek na civilizations when it comes to their point of view pagdating sa mismong idea ng sex and sexuality, marriage at iba't iba pang mga bagay. So, out of these three na mga civilizations, ano yung pinaka nag-resonate sa inyo pagdating sa discussion na to? So, parang ginawa lang natin doon sa first video, I would like to know kung ano nga ba yung insights ninyo. Pili lang kayo ng isa. Is it the ancient Mesopotamia, ancient India, or ancient Greece na meron kayo naintindihan or naunawaan pagdating sa mismong discussion natin regarding this particular context. And that will be a part of a recitation point pagdating sa mismong class natin for this particular discussion. Okay, so for the third part ng discussion natin, it will be uploaded on the next video. It will be present on the next video. So, hintayin lang po ito and see you on the next set of our discussions.